Ayo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for joining us once again. Monday Night Raw tonight. It was really not even worth reviewing, but there are a few things that I want to talk about, as always, and we are going to discuss all of that right here and right now on this extremely late night edition of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it, baby.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining me tonight on this edition of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. I am your host, Nick Nightmare. This is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, and we are here to talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw tonight, which actually, I don't want to say it was that bad, because there's been a whole lot worse that we've had to sit through, but this Monday Night Raw, I don't really know how to describe it. I wasn't a fan of anything that they're doing or the directions in which they are proceeding with most of the storylines and things that happen tonight. Let's get to the show a little bit. It started off, first of all, Toronto, Canada is a beautiful city for pro wrestling. The crowds in Toronto always, as they like to claim, make it seem like Bizarro World anytime they chant the reality of the situation, because Toronto fans amongst wrestling fans are the most real of us all, and they are not afraid to voice their opinion, and that was never more evident in the case with Bayley, and we are going to get to that in just a little bit. The show opened up, and Monday Night Raw, as usual, begins and ends pretty good, and everything in the middle is just, oh god, what am I watching? And I don't understand the mentality. But we started off with another Miz TV segment, the mandatory Miz TV that we have to get every fucking week, and the whole purpose of this Miz TV was Miz was calling out Jason Jordan. He wanted to continue on where they left off last week after their little skirmish on Monday Night Raw, and Kurt Angle would come out and say, nope, you know what, Jason Jordan's busy tonight, he is not going to be on Miz TV, but I've got you a Miz TV exclusive, super high-end guest worthy of Miz TV that actually exceeds your limitations, and he introduces the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock and Lesnar make their way to the ring. The Miz tries to stake his claim to his show, only to totally be shown up by Paul Heyman in the end, because there is nobody better. The Miz kind of miffed Brock's intro as he was mimicking Paul Heyman. He didn't quite do it just right, and you can't fault the guy for that. It's not really his shtick, but if you're an actor, you should memorize lines, and you should have been able to know exactly what you were supposed to say and not flub one of the most repeated lines in WWE history that everybody in the crowd pretty much knows by heart. You should have known it as well, Mr. Miz. But the whole thing here was Paul Heyman said, we're going to have a preview of SummerSlam. The Miz, you will be playing the part of Roman Reigns, Bo Dallas will be playing the part of Samoa Joe, and Curtis Axel will be playing the part of Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar would then go on to destroy fucking everybody. Coincidentally, Jason Jordan's match later in the evening was to be scheduled against Curtis Axel of the Miztourage, and that would no longer be the case, as who the hell is going to be able to fight after being destroyed by the Beast Incarnate, our Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. That was pretty much, it was entertaining, it was good, I don't mind. I think there was better use for Brock Lesnar. Why they are not putting him in any segments with the actual competitors he's going up against on SummerSlam is beyond me. I don't need to see matches or anything of that nature. I just don't understand why they're keeping him away from all of the people that he's going... Like, they should at least be interacting and talking to each other and getting in each other's face, and I don't know. I just would have done something differently. Going back to Jason Jordan, he would compete tonight against a local competitor, a Jean-Pierre Goulet. Who the fuck cares? The big mistake here is that especially with the way he was received upon this whole Kurt Angle is my dad shit. Jason Jordan is being booed. You know, the crowd, especially in Toronto, was not feeling Jason Jordan and this whole new direction that they have brought him in, and they were chanting, "Let's go Jobber." Very true to what I was saying earlier about the fans in Toronto just not holding back. They did not care about Jason Jordan's affiliation with Kurt Angle. They did not care that the WWE is putting him on this push. They were chanting for the Jobber to win, and that is never a good sign. When a virtual unknown that you've never seen before is getting cheered to win over a star that you're trying to establish and turn into a big deal, you have already begun to fail. So it's time to re-examine where you're going. Maybe you start with that ridiculous theme music. Give them something a little more, a little more appropriate to hype the crowd and get everybody amped up and get everybody behind Jason Jordan. But this, obviously, who do you think won? In the end, Jason Jordan, to a chorus of boos, and it did nothing but, made Jean-Pierre Goulet feel pretty damn good. He felt good because he was getting cheered even though he shouldn't have been. Absolute fucking ridiculousness. We had Seth Rollins go one-on-one against Sheamus with Cesaro in his corner, and this was a decent match. These guys worked pretty well together. I didn't find any faults in the match. The fault comes in... actually, you know what? I'm going to be nice to this. There is no real faults in this, except for the fact that I'm getting tired of seeing, these guys in the ring together. But this is just the beginning of something that's going to be special, and it is the only thing that actually gets me interested in Raw to the point where I'm not half asleep and dazing away, is this whole interaction between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Seth Rollins would end up getting decimated by the tag team champions once again, and Dean Ambrose would not come out to make the save. He would voice his displeasure in this showcasing to Seth Rollins that this is your fault. You see, you made me look like the bad guy in this situation. So, it's still a very tumultuous relationship. Neither one of these guys are really gaining each other's trust, and it's a very interesting thing to see how they're going to end up bringing this together. The women's division is a shambles. It's a mess. It's been a shambles and it's been a mess. And every single thing that the WWE has done tonight has not shown me that they have taken any steps in a proper direction to fix the women's division at all. 2 triple threat matches to establish 2 challengers who will face off next week to see who will get the honor to fight the goddess Alexa Bliss, the Raw Women's Champion, at SummerSlam, now that Bayley has been sidelined with a shoulder injury. And poor fucking Bayley, man. What a fall from grace. How did we get from Bayley being the female John Cena coming up from NXT to being booed in one of the hottest wrestling towns on the planet? I thought for sure that a town like Toronto would show Bayley some respect, but it is clear to me that they are just as done with Bayley as I am. They don't care that she's injured. It's like, get off my TV. Go away with your injury. Nobody wants to see you anyway. Nobody is upset about this. They clearly got under her skin as a normally lighthearted Bayley visibly and vocally addressed the fact that I don't know why you guys are booing me. I'm talking to the people who support me, not to use that boo me. Like, it obviously rattled her, and I felt bad in that moment, but she's put in this position by the company to fail. There's no way she was going to get over the way they have been pushing her. They did not give her the babyface push that she needed, that Daniel Bryan-esque type of push, but in the female division, and that underdog, and the kids love you, but you know, you have this real mean Alexa Bliss at the top of the division. You should have Sasha Banks being heel and tormenting Bayley and having this friendship implode on the main roster the way it did in NXT, and you would have gotten a much better reaction, the reaction that you were probably expecting to get when you brought Bayley up, but it has been nothing but non-stop cringe, and this interview would add to the cringe moments for Bayley. But as far as the women's matches are concerned, we had 2 triple threat matches. Both of them were not very good. They were very spotty and very sloppy. And if you could find anybody in the world to give me a reason, other than the fact that there's no other women in the division, for Alicia Fox to be put in this match, to even be considered deserving of a title shot, is ridiculous. This girl has been off TV for how friggin' long? She's been involved with the Cruiserweight division. She hasn't been wrestling. She's been Noam Dar's girlfriend. She's been Cedric Alexander's girlfriend. And now you're just going to put her in a match and say, yeah, you know what? If she wins, she could go on and fight and challenge for the title. Come on. Alicia Fox is just as bad as having Dana Brooke in the other one. I just don't understand. And then, of course, in the end, we get the most predictable booking decisions ever, where you are clearly in a position here to try something different. You obviously weren't going to go with Sasha Banks as the challenger for SummerSlam by having Bayley have this match in the first place. So why not continue on that path, but just insert somebody into Bayley's position? Case in point should have been Emma. Somehow tonight, Emma should have came out with the win in that match, eliminating Sasha Banks from contention, making everybody go, holy shit, who the hell is going to be the challenger now? On the flip side, you could have done the same thing you did tonight. You could have had Nia Jax win the match and then have a one-on-one with Emma next week. But what would have been infinitely more interesting was if you would have had Mickie James somehow come out and win that match. And then you would have had Mickie James versus Emma. Either way, on that end, you have a much more interesting story to tell, because Emma's been on a comeback trail and she feels like she's been held down, and she's voiced her complaints to the general manager, and putting her in a top highlighted position in this point would make perfect sense. On the flip side, Mickie James, the established veteran, there's no reason why you would question whether or not she would win a triple threat match against anybody, and then her history with Alexa Bliss dating back to SmackDown would definitely carry that match up until and probably past SummerSlam, where you could pull the Sasha Banks card whenever you want, and you have a returning Bayley from injury, and you could start this whole thing all over again, because that's what it needs, is a restart anyway. So I'm not too upset that she's hurt. I never wish anybody to be hurt, and I hope she definitely has a speedy recovery, but the time off is going to be much needed for one Little Miss Hugs-a-Lot, because it's gone nowhere, and we can only hope that when she comes back, there will be a sympathy factor. We will end up having missed Bayley. Maybe they will fix the women's division a little bit and get this thing rolling in a much better direction. So both 6-man matches, 6-woman matches, did absolutely nothing. Next week we will have the very predictable Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax to see who's going to SummerSlam to fight Alexa Bliss. Who do you think they're going to pick? Who do you think's going to win? Somehow Sasha Banks is going to beat Nia Jax to continue to make her look less dominant than she should be looking. And who wants to see Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss right now anyway? Everybody knows how close they are. They're best friends. You're seeing it develop on TV, and you're going to already put them one-on-one against each other before their friendship even has a chance to fully develop on screen, and have a great team dynamic between the two, and have Alexa and her bodyguard, and let Alexa reign supreme, because nobody should be able to get past Nia Jax. And you want to get to the champion, you got to get past Nia Jax. That's at least what this guy would do. We had Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor go down in a brawl on this show, and I could care less, and it's a shame, because these are two of my all-time favorite of the current roster. They should be much bigger than they already are. Finn Balor was sidelined with an injury, and since his return, he has not ever been the same. I don't know where the Demon is. I mean, I know he's here. Look. There's tons of fucking merchandise with him all over the place. But we have not seen the Demon since Finn Balor's return. There has been no better time to do it than right now. If the Demon does not show up at SummerSlam versus an entity such as Bray Wyatt, then this is another failure by the WWE. It already is, because you are not highlighting this feud in a way that it should be highlighted. You should have Bray Wyatt tormenting and torturing Finn Balor, beating him up, getting the best of him, becoming even bigger, a god that he thinks he is, and he can defeat Finn Balor whenever he wants, and you can keep seeing every week just Bray Wyatt getting the best of Finn Balor, which would prompt him to unleash the Demon once again at SummerSlam, where he would get his vengeance on Bray Wyatt, and that should be the end of it. And then you put Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, or both of them, into the world title picture, the universal title picture, because what else are you going to do with these guys? How many guys are you going to have in a mid-card? It's crowded over there. And I understand why you're putting these two guys against each other, because you have nothing else to do with them, but the build and the story behind it is uninteresting. Everything Bray Wyatt has to say falls on deaf ears, because it's just blah, 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 same old shit, rinse and repeat, over and over and over again. Who wants to fucking hear it anymore? You can talk shit all you want. If all you do is get your shoulders pinned to the mat, nobody buys your bullshit anymore. So I'm waiting for them to change up the Bray Wyatt character. I'm waiting for the arrival of the Demon, and if neither one of these things happen within the next week and a half or so we have before the biggest party of the summer, we're just going to get another lackluster match that you could see on any episode of Monday Night Raw. Dean Ambrose would take on the other half of the World Tag Team Champions this night, as he would go one-on-one with Cesaro, who had Sheamus at ringside, of course. And in this scenario, it would play out almost the exact same way as Seth Rollins' match, only Seth Rollins would come out to help Dean Ambrose in his situation, and after the dust would settle, Dean Ambrose would put out the fist bump and be like, you know what, you're alright, you helped me out, I believe you now. And Seth Rollins would be the one to refuse, much to the chagrin of the absolutely electric Toronto crowd, who was all over this angle, just like I said I have been. It is the absolute most interesting thing that is happening, and the slow burn build that they are doing to this re-teaming of Rollins and Ambrose is beautiful. If they would have just touched fists tonight and formed a team, sure, it would have got a huge pop and we could have moved along, but by doing this and prolonging the inevitable, it's only going to make it even that much sweeter. So obviously they know how to do it, they just don't know how to do it with more than one story at a time, because this is how every segment should be, leaving you wanting more and knowing what the fuck is going to happen, because I'm looking forward to next week. What is going to happen between Rollins and Ambrose, and how much closer are they going to get to those Raw Tag Team Championships? Should be pretty damn interesting. Cruiserweight match, Cesaro beat, I didn't even say it right there because I'm fucking tired. Like I said, it's pretty late. Tozawa defeated Arya Daivari. Who the hell gives a shit? Titus O'Neil was at ringside. Titus Brand, all the shit. Fast forward, skip, I don't care. After that match, we had the second of the two women's triple threat matches, which was Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Nia Jax, as I said. And Nia Jax would come out with the win. She will go one-on-one with Sasha Banks next week on Raw. Who cares? And in the main event, in what was probably the match of the night, and I gotta always give credit where credit's due, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in a last man standing match was absolutely fantastic. These guys, as I constantly have said over and over on this show, because it needs to be said, these guys work so fucking well together, and they put on a very dramatic, very entertaining, very high impact match, And I really thought that Roman Reigns was going to come out the victor. I didn't see why they wouldn't do that since they have such a hard-on for Roman Reigns as it is. But the appearance and the arrival of Samoa Joe would prove to be the end for the big dog, as tonight the yard belonged to Braun Strowman, as he would pop up right before the 10 count and secure the win in this last man standing match. What does it actually mean? Nothing. It's just something to further along these guys and use them until we get to this fatal four-way. Like I said, why that couldn't have been maybe Brock Lesnar come out in this melee, have the four guys interact, man. Brock Lesnar opened the show, and then the rest of the main event closed the show. It just doesn't make sense to be keeping them separate if they're all in the same fucking building. What is the point? To have Brock Lesnar pretend to beat them all up by destroying the Miz? Taraj, really? Come on, that's not the proper way to be using the Beast incarnate. So, all in all, like I said, it wasn't a terrible show. The booking decisions as it pertains to the women's section of everything is terrible. We didn't have any Hardys tonight. That was my biggest disappointment, really. I mean, I wanted to see them be broken. I may have missed it because, like I said, every week, Raw sometimes lulls me into a 10-minute nap that I'm unaware that I've even taken. So, I didn't see the Hardys do anything significantly. The report that I read, the Raw results from, have absolutely no mention of the Hardy Boys in it. So, I don't know what the hell that was about. Hopefully we'll see where they're going with that next week, because obviously they're not going to be in the running for the Raw Tag Team Championships, as that's going to go to Rollins and Ambrose. And with the Revival now being injured once again, where does that leave the Awoken Hardys? That's all I'm seeing now is Awoken, so we might not be allowed to call them Broken anymore. But we'll have to see where that develops. So Monday Night Raw, we'll give it a 50-50. I'm not going to give it a thumbs down because it had its moments. The last man standing match was great. The Brock segment was okay. Rollins versus Sheamus was okay. Ambrose versus Cesaro was okay. So the show was okay. It was okay. I'm looking much more forward to what's going to be coming in just a few weeks. And if you do not know what is coming, don't forget to check out the channel. Make sure you are here on August the 14th for a very, very special episode of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. If you want to know what it's all about, you're going to have to tune in. It will be on the channel live, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Sledgehammer TV. Very, very big announcement from me. Very, very big episode for the show. Make sure you get your eyes on that one. We are also going to have a return of Give Me 5, because I am going to give you guys my 5 biggest main roster call-ups from NXT, and it may not be exactly who you think they are. So make sure you get your eyeballs on that. That will be coming probably immediately following the August the 14th special episode. It will probably be up amongst that weekend. If not, SummerSlam preview and predictions, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn preview and predictions. Everything is coming all next week as we are rapidly approaching SummerSlam weekend, a very big weekend for wrestling in New York City. I hope to be taking part of it in a much bigger capacity, and I am going to let you guys in on every single thing as soon as we find out, as we do right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That is going to do it. Monday Night Raw was okay. I am better than okay, but I am very, very tired, and I have to wake up for work in the morning, so we are going to call it a night, and I am out of here, and I want to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time for Blue, the champ of microphones. I am Nick Nightmare. You've been watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time, and I'm out of here.